The Democratic Republic of Congo, a nation scarred by decades of conflict, faces a renewed crisis in its eastern provinces. The M23 rebel group, once thought to be defeated, has surged back with a vengeance. Their advance has been swift and brutal, capturing key cities and sending shockwaves throughout the region. Goma, a bustling city of 2 million and the capital of North Kivu, has fallen under their control. Bukavu, the capital of South Kivu, has also succumbed to their offensive. The M23's advance shows no signs of abating. They are pushing south towards Uvira, a strategic city bordering Burundi, and north towards Butembo, a major commercial hub. The speed and scale of their offensive are alarming, surpassing even the brutal insurgencies of the First and Second Congo Wars. Their territorial control expands with each passing day, tightening their grip on the mineral-rich Kivu provinces. The international community has watched with growing concern as the M23 has defied peace agreements and ceasefire attempts. The January 2025 summits in Nairobi and Dar es Salaam, aimed at brokering a solution, ended in failure. The EAC regional force deployed to stabilize the region was expelled in 2023 by Congolese President Tshisekedi, who accused them of ineffectiveness. The Luanda peace process, which resulted in a ceasefire agreement in July 2024, has been repeatedly violated. The resurgence of the M23 poses a grave threat to the fragile peace in eastern Congo and the wider Great Lakes region. Their advance has displaced hundreds of thousands, exacerbating an already dire humanitarian crisis. The conflict risks spiraling into a regional war, engulfing neighboring countries and unleashing a new wave of suffering on a population already bearing the scars of past conflicts. The M23's resurgence is not solely due to their own strength. Mounting evidence points to external support, particularly from neighboring Rwanda and Uganda. A UN investigation in June 2024 concluded that both countries were providing significant military and organizational aid to the rebels. The investigation highlighted the presence of Rwandan Defense Force personnel within M23 ranks, further solidifying the link between the rebel group and Kigali. The M23's acquisition of advanced weaponry after July 2023 has raised further alarm bells. Their arsenal, which now includes sophisticated arms and equipment, suggests a level of external backing that goes beyond mere logistical support. This influx of weaponry has bolstered their capabilities, enabling them to overrun Congolese and regional forces with relative ease. Rwanda's alleged support for the M23 stems from a complex web of historical, political, and economic factors. Kigali has long accused Kinshasa of harboring Rwandan Hutu rebels responsible for the 1994 genocide, using this as justification for its interventions in eastern Congo. The control of valuable mineral resources in the Kivus also plays a significant role, with accusations that Rwanda is using the M23 to secure access to these lucrative resources. Uganda's involvement is equally murky, with suspicions that Kampala is using the M23 to counter the Allied Democratic Forces, a Ugandan rebel group operating in eastern Congo. However, concerns remain about potential coordination between Ugandan forces and the M23, further fueling regional instability. The external support for the M23 has exacerbated regional tensions and undermined efforts to find a peaceful resolution to the conflict. The involvement of Rwanda and Uganda risks turning the conflict into a proxy war, with devastating consequences for the entire Great Lakes region. The M23's advance has unleashed a wave of human suffering, displacing over 500,000 people in the Kivus alone. This adds to the estimated 7 million already displaced within the DRC, making it one of the world's worst displacement crises. In Goma, the capture of the city by the M23 in January 2025 triggered a mass exodus, with over 400,000 people fleeing their homes. The UN estimates that 3,000 civilians were killed during the M23's assault on the city, a grim testament to the brutality of the conflict. Tens of thousands of displaced people are now crammed into overcrowded camps around Goma, their lives in limbo. These camps are struggling to cope with the influx, lacking adequate shelter, food, water, and healthcare. Sanitation is a major concern, raising the risk of disease outbreaks. The humanitarian situation is dire, with aid agencies struggling to access those in need due to the ongoing fighting and insecurity. The displacement camps themselves are not immune from the violence. In January 2025, Doctors Without Borders reported that rockets had landed near camps and hospitals, highlighting the indiscriminate nature of the fighting. Medical facilities are overwhelmed with casualties, both from the fighting and from preventable diseases exacerbated by the lack of basic services. The humanitarian crisis in eastern Congo is a stark reminder of the human cost of the conflict. The international community must step up its efforts to provide humanitarian assistance to those in need, and to pressure all parties to the conflict to respect international humanitarian law. Despite the escalating crisis, diplomatic efforts to resolve the conflict have stalled. The EAC's insistence on addressing the citizenship issue for Congolese of Rwandan descent has become a major sticking point in negotiations. Kinshasa views this as an attempt to legitimize Rwandan interference in its internal affairs, further deepening the mistrust between the two countries. The failure of the Nairobi and Dar es Salaam summits in January 2025 underscored the deep divisions and lack of political will to find a lasting solution. The expulsion of the EAC regional force in 2023 and the repeated violations of the July 2024 ceasefire agreement have further diminished hopes for a negotiated settlement. The international community, while condemning the M23 offensive and calling for Rwanda to cease its support, has yet to agree on a cohesive strategy to address the crisis. The UN Security Council remains divided on how to proceed, with some members hesitant to impose tougher sanctions on Rwanda. The lack of a unified international response has emboldened the M23 and its backers, allowing the conflict to fester and spread. The absence of meaningful consequences for those fueling the violence has created a climate of impunity, further undermining the prospects for peace. The situation in eastern Congo is at a critical juncture. Without a concerted and decisive international effort to address the root causes of the conflict, the region risks sliding back into a protracted war with devastating consequences for millions of people. The time for action is now, before the cycle of violence and suffering claims even more lives.